I'm John W. Lowell, and I wrote the Standby Lear, which is getting a first staging at Live Theater Workshop in Tucson.
Hi, I'm Molly Lyons, and I'm playing Anna.
And I'm David Alexander Johnston, and I am playing Augie.
I know we've talked many times, but I am interested in hearing you share with us about the inspiration for the writing of this beautiful play.
Many years ago, a friend who was a student at the Denver Center was appearing in a production of Hamlet, but more specifically was an understudy for the role of Hamlet. And he found out one morning that he was simply going on, never having rehearsed the play in full. And as he was telling me the story, he actually lifted up his left pants leg to show me the scar where he had actually run into the throne. It had gone apparently very well, except for that accident. Okay, so I tucked that story away in my brain, and then I had another friend who had played Lear 3 times. And we were talking about plays and plays he'd like to do, and I thought it might be fun to write a play for him about an actor playing King Lear in the position that my friend was in when he was playing Hamlet, and finds himself going on really without sufficient prep and sufficient warning. And then having come up with that idea, I said, well, who's in the play? And the answer was, of course, the actor and his wife. And once I decided there were 2 actors in the play more or less wrote itself.
So, John, what's it like to be so far away while your new play is being produced?
Boy, is that not easy. Happily, I trust the actors, and I trust the director, Rhonda. And I have made clear that if anything is not working or if there are questions, I should be contacted. But it is very difficult because a playwright likes to be there to hear stuff. Very often when a new play is being done, a writer is sitting out in the audience scribbling notes on a yellow pad saying, yes, that's working, no, that's not working. And in this case, I'm not there to do it. I will digress for a moment. When that play that I spoke of before was being done in Chicago, I happened to be down in Orlando with another play, and the director contacted me in Orlando and said, well, here are my 3 pages of notes. Can we do this, 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 and this? And I wasn't there. I wasn't unhappy with what she asked, and I wasn't unhappy to comply. But I'll admit, when I finally saw the play, I thought to myself, gee, if I'd been in the room, I might have defended more of this. But I am reliant on the good judgment of actors, a good director, and I hope a good audience, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, so far, David, we haven't needed any changes, have we?
No, that's been one of the big pleasures. It's like, well, this really works.
The voice of the stage manager. Of course, we translated. You regendered based
we
on.
should explain. There are 2 actors on stage, and this is what is traditionally called a two-hander, meaning there are only 2 actors in the play. But there is a 3rd character present in the play, and that is the stage manager for the production of King Lear, in which Augie is appearing. So, but again, you may find the first time you're in front of an audience, you may find dead spot. Can we do something about this? And I am happy to fix. There is a lovely line about musicals, but I think it applies to plays, which is plays are not written, they are rewritten.
Yes.
So I have a question for the actors, because I'm not an actor. I'm a lot of things, but I am not an actor. What is it like having the honor to create roles that have never been portrayed before?
It's a thrill, actually. Not having to follow anyone else's footsteps. The choices are mine and the directors and the playwrights, and we get to explore it all together and think, would this work? How do we go this way? And I get to put my personal experiences into what we're doing.
But no template, so that's in a
no
way
template, and no rules from somebody else.
I remember when Marie Osmond was trying to do Maria in Sound of Music, and she kept saying, oh, I never think of Julie Andrews at all. And I thought, Ah, baloney, of course you do. And I agree with David. It is wonderful to not have a template, but I will also say, even though you claim to not be an actor, I find your writing, and I've read many of your plays now, written for actors in mind. And as our director keeps saying, Rhonda Hallquist, this play just flows, and it does. But it is wonderful to be creating it, and at the same time, I feel like this is how I talk. It's very natural for me. Anna just seems to fit and says things I would say, uses the kind of language I would say, even polysyllabicism, and so on. But it's extremely rewarding to know that I don't have to try to step into the shoes of Julie Andrews or anyone else.
I do all the time. It's very frustrating, but there it is. Actually, I have another question along those lines. Again, I appreciate the compliment, but I really am not an actor. What are the challenges of doing a two-hander? It's just the two of you. That's it.
Yeah, and every other line is yours. That's how it works. So you know your cue, because you're done talking. It's my turn now. I think it's a reward rather than a challenge of doing a two-hander, in that the energy is maintained. You're not sitting backstage waiting for your next entrance. And so the storytelling, the entire arc is all happening at the same time. You're not having to wait. And you maintain that flow and the relationship between the characters constantly.
I think I've done one-person shows and giant Shakespeare casts and everything in between. And I think the reward with this is, with a two-hander, is when skillfully written, as this is, the focus is on the relationship and just this relationship. I don't have to worry about, if I'm Lear, I don't have to worry about my daughters. If I'm Gertrude, I don't have to worry about Hamlet and everyone else. All I have to do is focus on this relationship. And I think it could be torture if I didn't have someone wonderful like David to play with. But as it turns out, we can have a lot of fun, and we often make each other laugh. And the play makes us both laugh and often weep at the same time. So I would say this one is more of a reward than a challenge.
So I could tell you who these characters are and what they think, but I'm not there and I don't have to live it. So I am curious. Molly and David, can you tell me about your characters?
Molly?
Well, I find Anna to be not only a wonderful friend and partner, but mixed in with that, a wonderful artist. And I think I identify with her a great deal because I gave up my career to be with my mom for a certain number of years, and I'm intrigued by the notion that Anna gave up her career for the sake of their relationship. And I think one of the wonderful challenges in it is that there's always an opportunity to look for the love. As Rhonda said one night, her loving kindness is something that not only does Augie need, but we need, the audience needs, everybody needs. And so looking always for those opportunities of her loving kindness. They have a wonderful banter together that sometimes can be quite snarky. But also I think that is the base that I really love about playing her. I've played so many characters and enjoy thoroughly playing the bad guy, playing selfish, evil people. It would be easy for me to play one of the daughters in Lear, as in Goneril or Regan. And I don't think anyone would have thought of me as Cordelia ever. But what I truly enjoy about Anna is this loving kindness and a sense of generosity, of choosing the relationship coming first before her own desires. And then we discover, of course, her desire is the relationship comes first.
I am thrilled actually doing Augie. He's an actor who has been an actor forever, and he's the standby, not actually playing Lear, which is frustrating to him a little bit. It's a bit of a step down for him to be the standby and not playing the lead, but he's enjoying it, and to find out it might be his night to go on is a bit terrifying, and I can actually relate to that 100%. I was an understudy myself for the older gentlemen, both of them in Much Ado, and I was called the night before first preview and said, "You're on," and I did the next 12 performances. But anyway, Augie, I'm one of those artists personally, because I paint when I'm not performing, and I get so focused on what I'm doing, I lose track of time, I forget to eat lunch. So there's a lot of similarities between David and Augie. And it is all about their relationship, the love between the two of them, the married couple.
You've sort of gotten to my final question. Is what do you think the play's about?
It is all about their relationship and how much they love each other and what they're willing to do for each other. And the joy of that is we know so many dysfunctional relationships, and so many plays are written about dysfunctional relationships. And this is so not that. This is about how much they love, worship, care for each other, and are supportive of what each other does.
It is not without obstacle, certainly. And some of that obstacle to me is what's intriguing. And that is, sometimes we protect the people that we love, and then there's not 100% honesty. And so some of the challenges that Anna and Augie run into is breaking down some of those walls of misunderstanding when they haven't fully connected in an honest place, but they get to it, and that's what's so rewarding about this relationship, is that they're both willing to fight for it ultimately. And as I said earlier, I think giving priority to a relationship versus personal needs, and then observing that, oh, my personal need is that this relationship comes first, is a wonderful thing about both characters, really. And I also think that you've managed well. Without giving anything away, I'm just going to say towards the end of the play, you manage this subplot of Augie going on as King Lear and their relationship, and we reach the ultimate climax of the play without seeing Lear. But what we see is, what was the preparation like? What did they learn about each other in that preparation? What were they willing to fight for in that preparation? And so, the win comes, as John Patrick Shanley would say, the best act of my play is the one that happens in the parking lot, when the people say, well, do you think she, and how do you think the performance went? And do you think that and did they, and you've set us up for that favorite act, which is the discussion in the parking lot.
Well, I'm pleased to say that I don't know any more about what the play's about than you guys think, or what any audience thinks. I have my perspective, but it's only my perspective, and it's perfectly possible to see this play and say, oh, it's about auto mechanics. I would find that implausible, but if that's what it is to you, that's what it is. However, I discovered, and it's always after the fact, that the play that I set out to write is not necessarily the play I write. And what I find is, when I'm done, I keep writing plays about married couples. Strangely, the play on which Molly and David work is actually really centered on this married couple. And the first play I wrote, called Leo Tolstoy's The Next Room Dying,
Yeah.
is centered on this married couple. I keep writing marriages. The second play I wrote was about Benjamin Britten and Peter Pears, a married couple. I just keep running into this theme. So I guess it's a never-ending exploration of what it's like to be partners.
And drawing fire and
drawing fire too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just keep writing about marriages. I'm going to get it right one of these days. So I ask you guys, what is it like doing live theater at the Live Theater Workshop after this, how shall we call it, pause?
Well, I'm very excited to be back on stage live in front of audiences. I did some Zoom performances, and I think David and I agree that Zoom, it's not film and it's not theater, and it's impossible to really connect. So it's a thrill to be back on stage live. And although I have directed in Tucson, this role is my Tucson on-stage debut, and also my first live role since 2019 in Chicago. And also, it's really exciting because Live Theater Workshop has this brand new venue, and David and I just worked on Mamet's A Life in the Theater, and that was their first production in the brand new venue. And we want people to turn out. The theater is practicing wonderful COVID-safe audience policies, and which are all on the website if you want to go look. But it is really exciting to be back in front of people, feel responses, and be able to connect with an actor, really actually see their eyes, right, David?
But my earliest memory of theater was seeing the original production of Your Good Man, Charlie Brown at the St. Mark's Playhouse in New York in 1968. And this is a absolutely true story. I adored the show, but I probably spent half of the time watching the audience. And I think that's when I decided to become a playwright, because I was fascinated to watch them react. I wasn't watching the show, I was watching the audience, and the audience is everything.